Who is going to be the Republican nominee in 2024? It seems early to be able to answer that question now, but it's pretty clear how the question would be answered if we were deciding the question today. And, I think it's pretty obvious that Trump would be the nominee. It's quite likely that DeSantis would be his pick. It's not going to be Pence. We can be sure of that for vice president. And that seems to me to be a ticket that would make probably a lot of sense. Why? Because Trump is the most popular figure in the Republican Party. DeSantis would be second. And all of this is confirmed in a Harvard-Harris poll just came out, which had Trump at 56%, DeSantis at 16%, and then everybody else is very low. Pence is at 7%, Nikki Haley at 4%, Rubio at 2%, Tim Scott at 2%, Ted Cruz at 1%, Pompeo at 1%. So Trump is obviously the dominant figure. I think, everyone knows that. And so what makes it strange is there's an article in The Hill, and if you read the article, the headline is this: DeSantis leads 2024 GOP pack. What? This is a flat-out misstatement of what the poll shows. In fact, DeSantis is in the low double digits. He's at 16% compared to Trump's 56%. But of course, as you read the article, you realize that The Hill is trying to play a little bit of a sleight of hand. Their headline is, if Trump is not the nominee. You can see all these leftists wish that Trump is not the nominee. It's the point of the whole January 6th proceedings. Let's try to make sure Trump is not the nominee. Let's try to prevent him from running again. And that wishful thinking is reflected in this headline. Now, it's true that if Trump is removed from the list, and now you do the poll, which the Harvard people did, DeSantis now leads 36%. Pence jumps to 17%, Cruz is at 8%, Haley and Pompeo are basically between 3% and 5%. So DeSantis is a popular figure, and he has shown, I think, in many ways that he's a very effective governor. He's taken a state that was very evenly balanced, in other words, between Republican and Democrat, and tilted it sharply to the right. He has had a consistent set of effective policies, and he has been very savvy in dealing with the media. A major problem for Republicans is they tend to run for the hills when the media shows up, ready to, scorch them. But not DeSantis. He stands up to them, and he doesn't have the sort of Trumpian tendency to take on the media, with the fisticuffs and the mud wrestling and blast them by name, sleepy eyes Chuck Todd and so on. DeSantis is, in a sense, more measured, but he's also really effective. And I think people like that about him. Now, DeSantis is himself a Trumpster. And so while he is cultivating his own image and also his own candidacy, I think he knows it would be a fatal mistake to run against Trump. In other words, not only would it not work, but it would probably isolate the two men from each other, make it more unlikely that Trump would pick DeSantis. So if I were DeSantis, I wouldn't do any of this. There's no need to. DeSantis has time on his side, and the smart move for DeSantis is simply to run alongside Trump, with Trump, support Trump, hope and expect that Trump might pick him as the number 2, which would then give him the inside track, kind of the way the Democrats tried, I think they now regret it, to give Kamala Harris the inside track with Biden to kind of put her next in line. So DeSantis has a bright future, in my view, in the Republican Party. In fact, he's showing all the other guys how it should be done. The other guys are all faltering and fumbling, and they're probably wondering why they're at such low percentages. Why am I at 2? Why am I at 3? Well, the reason you're at 2 and 3 is you're acting more like the kind of traditional frozen Republican where you're frightened of stepping forward, you duck issues that you should be dealing with. DeSantis doesn't do that, whether it's COVID, whether it's the elections. This is a guy who's like, listen, we can defend our position forthrightly because we're smart, and more important, we're right.